I'm Christa Jacobson, headmistress of the Budo, where we teach authentic ninjutsu and classical samurai Bujutsu. And for those of you who don't know what that is, those are the ancient martial arts of the ninja and samurai. Today in this video, we're going to discuss the importance of martial arts solo training part 2. But before I begin, I just want to say that if you've not already seen part 1, please go back and do that. Because if you haven't seen part 1 of the importance of martial arts solo training, you're not going to really catch everything that I'm saying in this particular video, and I'm not going to rehash everything that I said in part 1, okay? So if you do go back and watch the importance of martial arts solo training part 1, you guys can get why I'm making the video, kind of the direction of where I want the conversation to go, the philosophy that I have towards solo training, all that's covered in part 1. I'll make sure that I put a link to that particular video in the description below. I will also put a link to that video in the comment section below as well, so if you guys have not already seen that video, please do so. Also, if you guys are interested in authentic ninjutsu, classical samurai bujutsu, if you guys are into traditional Japanese martial arts and reality-based self-defense, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, the little subscription thing below, and also click the little bell icon. That way you guys can get the notifications every time I post a video. I do try to post 2 to 3 videos a week on my YouTube channel, try to keep up with everyone in the community. So if you guys are interested in those topics and those subjects, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, if you guys are interested in traditional Japanese martial arts training and you're not in Kansas City, go to my website at www.budodninjutsu.com. There you can see a list of our schools, the philosophy of training and teaching here within the Budo. And if you're not next to one of our schools, you guys can join the online Ninjutsu dojo and still study using my principles and philosophies and such within the martial arts through our online Ninjutsu dojo. And we also have a bunch of books and DVDs and downloads and all that kind of stuff too, if you guys are interested in that sort of thing. So here we go, right? There's the big introduction. So, importance of martial arts solo training part 2. Before I get into my thoughts on part 2, there are 3 questions that was sent to me off of part 1. I want to tackle these 3 questions first. The first question was, an individual sent me an email and he says, I can't solo train, I only train with a group. And he had this really long list of why group training is so crucial towards self-development. And to be quite honest with you, the individual that sent that, I don't think he wasn't staying on topic. I think that's probably the easiest way to say that. And I don't think he understood. I don't think he understands the words that he was using wasn't making a lot of sense. So when someone says, I can't do solo training, I have to train in a group. On one side, I understand that training in a group may be a little bit more motivating. However, the majority of training, even if you're in a group, is still solo training. I'm going to give you an example. If I go to a health club and I'm going to take an aerobics class with 10 other women and we're doing Taibo or whatever, right? We're doing some sort of aerobics class. Even though we're in a group, every one of us is doing our own individual training. It's still solo training, it's just in a group. If the other 10 women wasn't in the class, I would do the exact same thing in the exact same place, all by myself. So just because you're in a group environment does not necessarily mean that you're not solo training. Solo training is a very intricate and integral part towards the development within your martial arts. So the individual was like, you know, I only do group training. Well, that's fine, but you do group training because you're not self-motivated and you don't have a lot of great self-discipline. You're not doing group training because solo training is bad, because the majority of your group training is solo training. So like an example, most people go to a dojo and then let's say a class is an hour long. So there's going to be some sort of bowing in process, you know, Shiken Haramitsu Daikomyo or something like that, right? That's solo. That's by yourself. You can do that there, or you do it at home, right? And then there's going to be a warm-up process, push-ups, sit-ups, squats, etc., etc. That's solo training. You might be in a group, it's still solo training. Then everyone's probably going to get on the line, and there's going to be that he's the coach or the teacher or whatever. They're going to call it a bunch of combinations, like maybe jab cross or a jab front snap, and you guys are going to work various different drills, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, that's solo training. I mean, if you're over there working drills, and you know the coach is calling out different combinations, different techniques, different footwork drills, and all that kind of stuff to get you warmed up, still solo training. The next thing is probably going to do some rolls. Everyone then goes and does rolls, forward rolls and rear rolls and side rolls. Hell, at this point, you're 15-20 minutes in the class, and everything you did, even though you're in the group, you're still solo training. So when you look at it from that perspective, solo training is still solo training. You can solo train in a group, where you're still doing your own thing, but you're with the group. And again, I understand that's motivating. If you're not a very self-motivated person, a lot of people need that so for their development. But the raw reality is it's definitely not needed if you're self-motivated, you're disciplined, and you want to do what it takes to make you better. So for the individual that was like, you know, solo training is terrible, the only way you're going to get good is training a group, which is basically his point, that's absolutely not true, because the majority of group training is still solo to a certain degree, you know. The next question that came up was there's no point of doing techniques without a partner. The only way you can learn the techniques is with a partner. And again, I disagree with that particular statement. When you learn techniques, let's say that you're going to do, you learn a particular waza or kata against, I don't know, a 1-2 combination or a jab, a front snap kick or something like that, or whatever, a knife attack or a sword technique or whatever it is. So someone's doing an attack towards you and you're going to learn a technique. When you do that, you have to learn to some degree particular level of taijutsu, how to move your body, where to move your body, what angle you move your body at, etc., etc. Granted, you can't polish that technique and refine that technique without a partner. And I will absolutely not disagree with that. Again, if you watch part 1, I talk about in that particular video that having a partner and being able to do the techniques hands-on, and you guys know, if you guys do follow my channel, I'm a huge advocate for sparring and grappling and full contact kumite and all that kind of stuff. Those lessons you get from that is extremely important aspect to martial training. However, if you cannot do the technique in the air with zero resistance and someone in front of you, there's no fucking way you're going to be able to do it with someone in front of you. I'm going to say that again because some of you guys don't understand what I just said. So I'm going to say that one more time. If you cannot do the technique with zero resistance, that means you cannot do the technique with resistance. So when someone's like, there's no need of doing techniques without a partner, well, that's just freaking ridiculous. When you're doing the techniques in the air without a partner, you're building muscle memory. You're building a way of moving the body, a specific way to develop that muscle memory against a pragmatic attack. So you don't have to think about it when it happens. You're used to doing something in a certain way, a certain function, and an ability in a specific movement. And that mental, the visualization of what you're using, you're seeing in your head, here comes the knife and I'm doing this and this is the technique. That visualization along with the taijutsu training is what helps blend that together. Once you get that really smooth, you can then add a training partner and do the techniques hands-on. But the raw reality of training is if you cannot do it in the air with zero resistance, there's no way in hell you're going to do it with resistance. It just doesn't make sense. So for the person who said that, that's just being ridiculous. Actually, I think that person was kind of a little bit of a hater. He went on and said some other things that were very, very rude towards myself. The third question I have before I start on my second part of solo training, you need a teacher. You cannot learn by yourself. And I don't know how you can actually follow my YouTube channel and think that that I agree, that I've even said that. I don't even know how to word that to make that sound better than what I just did. But, you know, again, the question is, you need a teacher, you cannot learn by yourself. My response, no shit. I have never said solo training is self-teaching. Self-teaching is different than solo training. Solo training is when you're training by yourself. Self-teaching is when you're teaching yourself something. So when I make a video on the importance of solo training, that has nothing to do with someone who thinks they can teach themselves martial arts. That's fucking ridiculous. You need to have a teacher. You need to have a master. You need to have someone to show you how to do something and can help refine that particular movement, right? So I think that is extremely important. Now, I am going to add something. This is where I saw there's a couple tidbits that I'm going to pull from part 1. An example, we have the online Ninjutsu dojo. Well, when you buy level 1, you have to have a review process of all the skills before you can test. So people tend to think, oh, I buy level 1, I'm going to watch the videos, test, get a rank. No, you're going to watch all the different skills, you're going to train, and then as you're doing each skill set, whether it's the strikes, whether it's level 1 strikes, level 1 kicks, level 1 blocks or stances, or whatever the skill set we have, there's particular skill sets you have to learn. You have to review each one of those skill sets and have the passable review before you can test. Because I want to be able to know that the individual that's testing has already done a review process. I don't want someone to send me a test and it's a waste of my damn time. So you have to go through that, and then I give you feedback and say, nope, your stance here was wrong, your strikes here, you're not kicking correctly, you're not coming to point of origin on your strikes. There's certain drills that we run called Kihon Waza. It helps me watch the students' movement so I know whether they're getting back to point of origin, keeping their hands up through combination, various bag drills, etc., etc. So there has to be a review process, because if you don't have that review process, then you just can't get good. I do agree that the majority of people who have online training are a bunch of schmucks and they just want your money and, you know, buy all this all up front and here's your black belt on honorable, you know, whatever, honor roll or whatever they call that. That's horse shit. It's never going to happen here. It's never happened here, and it's never going to happen here. You buy level 1 and you can take the level 1 exam after you've done the reviews. I don't want people to get rank that doesn't deserve it, right? So when someone, so this individual is like, you need a teacher, you can't learn by yourself. I don't know if that person was taking a shot at the online Ninjutsu dojo, or if they're taking a shot at the importance of solo training part 1 video. They made that particular comment on the video, but that doesn't have anything to do with the video, and I've never said that someone should be self-teaching anyway. And so I kind of think they're making that comment towards the online dojo, and even then, clearly they're not part of the online dojo, because anyone who's ever joined knows that you guys have to go through a review process and you have X amount of reviews on every level before you can take the particular exam, okay? So I do talk about that a little bit in part 1. So if you guys go back and watch part 1 to solo training, you guys will understand that. So here we go. Let me get to this next point. Without doubt, okay, so solo training, right? Without doubt, there are aspects of training where you need to have a partner. I'm not going to deny that. You know, there are aspects where it's like, you know, to do all the kata hands-on, to do the techniques hands-on, the waza, sparring, grappling, knife defense, gun defense. There is no question that solo training is the end-all be-all to martial arts. However, every individual skill within the martial arts can be trained with solo training. If you want to work on your footwork, your agility, your speed, your quickness, your strength, your stamina, your striking, your kicking, all that kind of stuff. And at the very end of this video, I'm going to talk about 13 tips for solo training. I'm going to give you guys some tips on how to do it. But in all reality, each individual skill can be trained solo training. And that solo training helps you refine that skill. So then when you do train with people, when you take that day, like, you know, if you're going to go and do some sparring or some grappling, or go train with a friend once every other week, or whatever it is, just because you train with a friend every other week, or you go to the dojo once a week or whatever for some sparring or some roll time or whatnot, that's all well and good. But that doesn't mean you're not training your ass off the other 6 days or 5 days or whatever that is. So many times people think like, if you're training with someone, that's better than not. And in many regards, it's not true, because for you to refine the individual skills, you have to do solo training. So I wanted to make that point right there. The next thing is, the ones that take the time to work on their craft will be the ones that become great. Willingness to be self-sufficient and taking the time to master self, that leads you to success. And that's the absolute truth. You are the only one responsible for your success. If you want to be stronger, go lift weights. You want to be faster, quicker, better strikes. The ones that take their time to be able to train on their own and take that time to develop a specific skill set, those are the individuals that are just going to be better at martial arts. When you could tell when people get in there, and anyone who's ever like spent enough time at any dojo, I don't give a shit what martial art it is, whether it's karate do, aikido, kendo, judo, iaido, MMA, boxing, wrestling, I don't give a shit. Anyone who's ever been to any type of dojo or training facility at all, the individuals who come in and all they do is spar, it's very obvious that they suck. That's all they're doing. They're just getting some roll time. They just want to get in there and spar a little bit, because their fundamentals and their technique is shit. And those are the ones that always get their ass whooped, because their technique is shit. They don't do the work. They don't do the dirt time. They ain't got no calluses on their hands. They ain't doing the work. They just want to go and have fun and fuck around for a little bit. And that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Everyone has the right to live their life the way they want. But the raw reality of it is, if you're not doing the time to work on your footwork, work on your coordination, work on, you know, the striking, the kicking, the blocking, the shadow boxing, the endurance, the cardio, the strength, you're not doing those things, you're not going to do that. You're not going to be that good anyway. So, you know, you can learn a bunch of tricks and you can do some techniques, and you can do a few things that kind of you could put in your little skill set. But if you're not training, functional training, if you're not taking the time for yourself, then don't expect to be self-sufficient if you can't train yourself. Right? Think about that. I'm going to say it again. Don't expect to be self-sufficient in self-defense if you can't take time for self. We're going to get back to that word self here in a minute. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is we have 2 mistakes with solo training, okay? And the first mistake with solo training is intensity. A lot of times people go and they train on their own, and they'll do things like, they work on kata, waza, swordsmanship, or whatever it is, right? They're going to do something. And that's all well and good, and there's nothing wrong with, that type of training. But let me just throw a few things at you guys. If you don't train in a speed, in a way that would be reflective of how you would move in a real fight, in a real encounter, then you're not really doing it correctly. A lot of people can walk, but they can't run fast. And they don't run fast because they don't practice running fast. They don't practice sprinting, that type of thing. So if you're going to practice doing, even if something simple like, inward block and then urokanuch, right? So we got nagashe uke to urokanuch, right? Or inward block back fist, whatever you guys are going to, however you guys use that in your particular martial arts that you guys are training in. That's all well and good, but if you guys practice it 1, 2, and you don't practice the technique, boom, boom, as fast as you can, and getting that muscle memory and that quick response, those fast twitch muscle fibers constantly moving, boom, 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 over hundreds and hundreds of repetitions, you're not going to be able to use it. Because when someone comes at you with an attack, what's going to happen is you're going to think, oh shit, what'd I do? Well, if you've already trained particular techniques and movements hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, fast, quick, with your fast twitch muscle fibers, you're going to react quicker than, oh shit, what do I do? So the number one mistake with solo training is people just don't train intense. They don't push themselves to the same speed and intensity that they would in a real street fight, real self-defense situation. So when you guys are training shadow boxing, heavy bag work, whatever you're doing, make sure that you add intensity to your training, because if you're not training intense, then you're not really training. You're just going through the motions, okay? Number 2, the second mistake is they do not train their mind to be successful. You have to visualize. Everything that you do, you have to visualize. A lot of times you guys hear these people who hit a lot of game-winning shots, like in basketball, like a Michael Jordan, a Kobe Bryant, Larry Bird, these people who've really shot a lot of jump shots, and they've hit a lot of game-winning jump shots. They say all the time in the videos, they say, well, when I practice, I always practice at 3, 2, 1, and then they shoot, and they won the game. Over and over and over. They've hit so many game-winning shots on the playground that when it's time to do it, they're ready for it. Because in their mind, their brain has already thought about that process so many times that when the time comes, they don't have to think about that process. They just have to carry through the motion that they've already done. They visualized it, they've trained through repetition, and now they're ready to do it. So that, even though, again, you can't take away the end game competition, and I get that, but you still have to train and visualize with what you're doing. There's a lot of times I'll watch people do techniques, and I'm just like, okay, so show me how to do it in the air. And they'll step away, and then they'll try to do the technique. Where's the knife? Or where's the punch? Or how is the person laying on the ground? And they're like, because they're just doing a motion. They're going through the motions. They're not thinking about what the fuck they're doing. They're not visualizing. You should always visualize your technique. Every time you're doing a punch, where are you punching? How are you punching? How are they reacting? What's your footwork? How are you moving back? How are you moving forward? How are you moving side to side? You should think about that and constantly ingrain the mental aspects of being successful. Your action is predicated on what it is that you're thinking, seeing, and doing. So make sure that you always integrate visualization in all of your solo training exercises. That way you can then work off that muscle memory, off of what you see. Because in a real fight, you're going to visualize something and you're going to move. You want to make sure that you work the mind aspect, because it's very crucial within martial arts training. The next thing I want to go over is the 13 tips for solo training. Now, of course, this is going to be for ninjutsu. A lot of you guys who watch my page, you guys aren't probably studying ninjutsu. It might be karate do or aikido or judo or whatever. So a lot of things that I'm going to say probably won't directly reflect to the martial arts that you're training. But if you guys are doing ninjutsu training, these are 13 things that you can do on your own that will help you refine your individual skills to be better. Okay, I am going to make a video on these particular topics and kind of break them down a little bit more, but this video is already long enough, so I'm going to go through them very quickly. Number one, Kion Waza, which means basic techniques. That is a very broad term for the basic shit that you need to know within martial arts. It's not just punching and kicking. It also covers survival skills, situational awareness. So every time you're out in public, you should be practicing situational awareness, reading the crowd, understanding the elements, where are the shadows, where's the weakness. If someone was to come in and it's some sort of a active shooter situation, where is the evasion skills? How would you evade? How would you get out? You know, all these kind of things. You're constantly training. So if it's if you want to work on your survival skills or Seizon Jutsu, you want to, it's snowing, I need to go practice making a fire. It's raining, how can I practice, you know, shelter or cooking or finding water or purifying water. There's lots of other things that you can do. And all those skill sets is important, because if you've never done it in the rain, well, then you've never done it in the rain. And it's really easy to create a fire when it's dry as shit outside in the middle of summer and everything's dead, right? So it's like, you know, it's very easy. So you have to be able to put that skill set in a different environment so that you can grow. So that's what we mean by Kion Waza. The second thing that you guys can do when you're on your own is work on your kata and waza. Kata means form. So those are particular techniques where they link individual motions together. And some martial artists call them techniques, like against a knife, do this, you know, deflect, grab, kick, punch, whatever. Right, but you can do those in the air. Like I said earlier, if you can't do it with no resistance, you can't do it with resistance. You want to refine that motion. The second thing is your waza. The wazas are individual skills, like a punch, a kick, a block, a motion. You want to work on all your individual fighting techniques. That way, when it comes time to use them, they're there and they're refined, and you have the ability to do it. Not just, well, if I need to do it, I'll do it. No, you have the ability to do it. The third aspect is going to be shadow boxing. This is something that's very crucial. You should make sure that you wear the clothes that you're used to wearing when you guys are going to be out and about for a self-defense situation. If you wear tennis shoes or boots or whatever it is that you guys train in, you guys should always be changing your different footwear based on what you would be wearing on a normal day. Do your shadow boxing, your punching, your kicking, your moving, working your combinations, forward, back, side, left side dominant, right side dominant, everything. You should be doing shadow boxing and working your rounds. That way it can help you be a better martial artist when you need to be a better martial artist. Being able to, your body can put together all the different techniques as needed. Okay, then we get to the next section. Number 4 would be cardio training. You know, you need to work on your cardio. So get out and skip the rope, go for runs, get on the treadmill, whatever it is that you got to do to work your cardio, work the cardio. The next one's strength training. You should be working out your muscles every single week. You should be doing upper body training, chest, shoulders, triceps, back, traps, biceps. You should have leg day, pull day, press day, whatever it is. You should also have one day every other week where you just do core strength training, where it's deadlifts, power cleans, bench press, things like that, and you train with like a 3 rep at a 3 rep base. So you don't want to be able to go over 3 reps. So that functional, real deep muscle stimulation to be able to move a heavy weight, you should be doing that. I mean, not to the degree of an athlete, like a bodybuilder or a strength competitor or whatever, but as a martial artist, you should be able to do heavy deadlifts. You should be able to do a heavy bench press. Or maybe when I say heavy, of course that's subjective to everybody, but you should push your body to an extreme at least once every other week, working on one day where it's functional strength training at no more than 3 reps, so your body's used to that, oh shit. Because here's a little fun fact for all of you guys. You know, the rabbit don't attack the lion. Whoever comes after your ass, I don't give a shit how big and strong you think you are, whoever comes after your ass is going to be bigger, they're going to be stronger, or they're going to have a tactical advantage. No one attacks another person if they know that they're going to get their ass whooped. Predators go after prey. So if you're the one being attacked, the individual already thinks that they can whoop your ass, or they have a tactical advantage to whoop your ass. So you need to be able to train in a way to build the strength, endurance, and everything that you need to counter that. So strength training is a must. Flexibility training for martial arts, being able to move your body certain ways, that's something else you can do on your own. The next one's bag work. Yes, there are like focus mitt drills and things like that, you know, without doubt that plays a role in the, you know, needing a partner to train. But you can get a heavy bag, you get a double end bag, you get a speed bag, you get a cobra bag. All these different bags work the body differently and provide you a different aspect towards training your striking skills. And it doesn't matter what scenario you're in, you can always strike. I don't give a shit if you're standing up or if you're on the ground, you can still strike. So you always want to work your striking skills and make sure that those are fundamentally sound. Every strike, every kick, every combination should be sound. So yes, you should get in the double end bag, work the heavy bag, work the speed bag. The next thing, agility training, working on your athletic movements, agility, footwork, timing, work on those particular skills, jump rope, things like that that keep you light on your feet and being able to do all your techniques with quickness and lightness, and that's very important. The next one is weapons training, and again, this is kind of broad. So, you know, you guys can work on, if you guys are going to do concealed carry, work on drawing your knife. If you're going to be carrying an edged weapon, work on drawing the knife forward, back, left, right, putting things in between, working on pushing the heavy bag and then drawing your knife, pushing the heavy bag, taking steps back at a 45, drawing your weapon if you're going to be doing concealed carry with a firearm. There's going to be lots of different drills that you can do that's going to help provide you an opportunity to get better at drawing the weapon. Just because you're carrying the weapon, it doesn't matter if you can't draw the damn thing quickly and a quick response to use it. It's useless. Just because you have the damn thing don't mean you can use it. So it just means it's there. You still have to get to it and get it out in a very intense, violent situation. So, you know, whether you guys are working stick fighting, edged weapons, firearms, whatever you're doing, you want to do that weapons training, which is solo training, and put in the time to be good at whatever weapon it is that you're going to carry, okay? You should be watching video and working on your techniques. You should tape a lot of your workouts, particularly your shadow boxing, things like that, or maybe if you're going to be drawing weapons, tape yourself doing it. That way you guys can then see, okay, I could have done that better. I could have done that better. And every time I'm left side forward, I fight this way, but when I'm right side forward, I tend to do this, and this isn't quite accurate. It's a way for you to reflect and kind of grade your own self. That way you guys can then properly make the steps towards making yourself better. The next thing you guys should do is you guys should be watching video whoever the best is in your craft. Obviously, if you guys are studying the Budo Ninjutsu, you guys are studying the Budo Kai, you guys need to be buying all my videos. I don't care whether it's the Jujutsu videos, the Kempo videos, the weapon training videos. You guys need to watch the way that I do it and then work on how to do it that way. A lot of times people in the online dojo, they tend to think, well, if I'm on level 1, I only need to do level 1. Well, let me give you guys something. When you guys do like level 1, level 2, level 3, you've already learned all the strikes and kicks and things like that. And I'm not going to get into the whole, you know, the one-hit wonders. These people have like 5 or 6 different first-degree black belts. They think they're a master. It's fucking ridiculous. You can't get, you know, 3 associate's degrees and call it a master degree, right? It's just ridiculous. People think that, though. A Shodan means initial level. Just because you're an initial level student in like 4 martial arts don't mean you're a master of another one, right? So my point with that is make sure that you watch videos of the people who are best in whatever craft it is that you're doing. If you're doing Kung Fu, watch them do it. You're doing Ninjutsu, whoever's the top in that, whoever's the head of that, watch them. If you guys are in the Budo Kai, watch my videos, watch the DVDs, you know, build up that digital densho and work on the ways that you see me doing it and then figure out, okay, how can I do that with my body? Because that's a way for you to break down things mentally and study the particular motion so that you can be better at what it is that you're doing. The next thing is there's Ki Keiko and Gokan Keiko, and these are specific towards Ninjutsu overall, but Shinobi Ki Keiko is working with the elements, working on all your techniques in the rain, in the snow, when it's really fucking hot outside, when it's really cold outside, you know, putting yourself susceptible to lots of different pain and things like that. That's important. Going out barefoot and then doing it out in the grass or something like that. All these different scenarios is like the Ki Keiko. You're working within the element. And sometimes people take the elemental training as specific, like earth, wind, water, fire. Elements are all elements. The elements can be the situation as well. So make sure you should be training every technique, not just downstairs, you know, on nice matted floors. You should be working your shadow boxing on the grass, on the gravel, different footwear, etc., and train your body to be able to utilize the different elements towards your advantage. Remember, if you can use elements to your advantage, you grow stronger as they grow weaker. The next one's the Gokan Keiko, and this is working, again, a ninja skill. It's working on your own human senses, so working on memorization skills, working on smelling, hearing, touch, shutting off all the lights and working on how you can do things in the dark, sensitivity training, things like that. Those are things that are also needed. The skill set that you don't think you need is probably going to be the one that's going to bite you in the ass when you need it. So there shouldn't be any limit to your training, especially if you're going to be a ninjutsu practitioner. And I say that across the board. It doesn't matter what ninjutsu organization you guys are with. If you're a ninjutsu practitioner, there should not be a limit to your skill set, because that's kind of the the part of the art itself. So for all of you guys who are like, I need to have a training partner, you know, I want to meet somebody and go train once a week or twice a week, or I need to go, you know, I'm only going to go to the dojo once a week. You guys aren't going to be good. Get off your ass and go train. If you want to be good, then you need to do something for you. Martial arts generally talks about self-esteem, self-discipline, self-enlightenment, self-empowerment. Well, the only way to get self-esteem is to do something enough to get confidence of self to have self-esteem. You can't, your training partner ain't going to give you better self-esteem. You are going to give yourself better self-esteem when you're confident with what you're doing. And the only way you're going to get confident is if you do it a lot. So you have to do something for you, which is yourself. Self-esteem comes from self-training. Boom. Self-discipline comes from you, yourself, being disciplined at training yourself. You have to take the initiative of saying, no, I got to get up at 6 and do my run. I got to do my weights. I got to do my bag work. I got to work my technique. That discipline is what's going to help you have self-discipline. Nobody can make you have better discipline. Nobody can make you have better self-esteem, you know, or a self-image of yourself. Only you can do that. The next one's like self-empowerment, right? The word self-empowerment means you are empowering yourself to do what you need to do. That comes from self-empowerment, comes from empowering yourself, which comes from you training yourself. Everything gets down to self. You know, no martial arts school says, yeah, we're going to make you feel better when you're in a group. No, it's self-enlightenment, self-esteem, self-discipline, self-defense, self-awareness, all these kind of things. You have to take the time for yourself to be self-disciplined, self-aware, self-esteem, and be self-empowered. I'm not taking away, yes, there are functional skills. You need to have a training partner if you're going to be, you know, going up the ranks and all that kind of stuff. But there's also a point in time in your training when you get a little older that you still spend more time on solo training because you've already done the stuff. You've already sparred so long, you don't need to get in there and spar every fucking week. You've done it. You know how to do it. You've acquired the skill. So just because, you know, so when you're 50, 60 years old, you're not going to be doing the rounds in the fucking ring that you would have when you're in your 20s. But you still know what you're doing. So you want to refine those skills and keep those skills sharp so that you can use them. And that gets into another whole video there where, you know, when you're in the very beginning stages of your training, a lot, you know, underneath black belt, or I would say the first couple levels of training when you're white, yellow, orange, purple, that kind of thing. 10th Q, 9th Q, 8th Q, 7th Q, that type of, that area, very, very young in your training, there's a lot of solo training, a lot of self-development going on. Again, self-development, a lot of self-discipline going on, self-discipline, you know, all these things, because you're trying to learn self-awareness, right? But then you get into that training when you're in the, okay, now we're getting into like, you know, 3rd Q, 2nd Q, 1st Q, Shodan, Nidan, you know, it's kind of, and you're doing all the sparring and the grappling and the full contact, kickboxing and all that kind of stuff. And that's great. You're learning how to apply the skills. But then there's the point where it's like, you know, I know how to take a punch and I know how to punch. So then you kind of get away from that and you start doing other things, which now opens up another door towards training. And we can get into that in another video. So thank you guys this is a 32-minute video. So sorry about that, but thank you guys very much for all of loving your support. I deeply appreciate it. One more time, I'm Christa Jacobson, head of the Budo Kai. If you guys are interested in authentic ninjutsu and classical samurai bujutsu, just traditional Japanese martial arts, or if you're into reality-based self-defense training, martial arts philosophy, Japanese history and tradition of the ninja and samurai, please click the subscribe button to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to click the little bell so that you guys can get the updates every time I post videos. I do post 2 to 3 videos a week. Also, if you guys are interested in training, you guys are in Kansas City, go to my website at budodninjutsu.com. There you guys can there's a phone number there. Give us a call, set up a time for a free trial class, and see if this is something you guys would like. If you're not in Kansas City and you would like to study with the Budo Kai, you like my philosophies and principles and the things that I teach in my videos, if you don't live next to one of our schools, you guys can always join the online Ninjutsu dojo and start your training today. So thank you guys very much for your love and support. I appreciate it, and I'll talk to all of you guys later. Bye.